Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Wednesday, the 1st of October. Twin Taliban suicide blast kills 7 in Afghanistan. Death toll in train collision climbs to 14 in northern India. And demand for livestock surges in Pakistan ahead of Eid-ul-Zuha. And now for all the details, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 5-day visit to the United States concluded with the summit-level meeting with President Barack Obama. The two country heads spoke about a variety of political and economic issues of bilateral interest. Our political editor Smita Prakash reports from Washington.
The Indian Prime Minister and President Obama had talks today at the White House, one-on-one talks and also delegation-level talks. The joint statement, which was to be issued soon after the talks, got delayed as the two sides were discussing and ironing out issues between which were to figure out in the joint statement. The most important being that on economic and strategic issues, there was a meeting of mind between President Obama and Prime Minister Modi. There were substantive talks on issues that have bogged down the relationship, whether it be the nuclear liability laws in India, which have held up the nuclear cooperation agreement between the two sides, and also cooperation on terror, which has also got bogged down because of several issues.
सिर्फ मार्स में ही भारत और अमेरिका का मिलन हुआ ऐसा नहीं है, अब धरती पर भी उतना ही निकट मिलन संभव हो चुका है.
They talked about trilateral partnership in Afghanistan, but this was restricted to development in Afghanistan, not related to cooperating on security issues in Afghanistan. As far as energy and smart cities is concerned, there was talk about America joining with Indian companies to develop smart cities. There's a new global initiative called GIAN, G-I-A-N, which is about academic networks in the two countries.
We both need and want clean air. We both need good jobs. We both need to trade new markets. We both need more investment. We both need higher education systems that work for the next generation. And we both need to keep our people safe from the scourge of violent extremism. Our new partnership is rooted in both shared values and shared interests.
As far as terrorism is concerned, India and America now on the same page about dismantling terror networks, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the D Company, the Al-Qaeda, the Haqqani network, all this featuring in the joint statement for the first time, not just a general mention of terror networks, but these companies named specifically, and clearly that these terror organizations operate out of Pakistan is extremely important for India. Smita Prakash, South Asia Newsline in Washington, D.C.
At least 7 people were killed and several others were injured in twin Taliban blast in Afghanistan on Wednesday. The attack comes a day after the country's newly sworn-in president signed a pact with the United States to extend the stay of NATO troops in the country.
The twin attacks were targeted at a convoy of buses carrying Afghanistan army personnel in capital Kabul. The powerful blast, which destroyed the army bus completely, also damaged nearby vehicles and shops. The Afghan Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack. Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid said the blast was a clear message to the new government against the pact with the United States and warned of more such violence. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani had on Tuesday signed a crucial deal with the U.S., allowing Washington to retain a small contingent of forces in the country post-2014, which his predecessor, Hamid Karzai, had refused last year. President Ghani, on the occasion of signing the deal, said the agreement was in better interest of Afghanistan.
به صورت یک دولت مستقل بر اساس برداشت منافع ملی خود قرارداد را که بر ثبات خیر و رفاه مردم ما برای ثبات منطقه و ثبات دنیاست انجام دادیم.
Under the new pact, 12,000 military personnel are expected to stay after the year end. President Ghani has, however, drawn clear lines of direction for the troops, including restriction on entry into religious places and civilian areas. The presence of foreign troops has been necessitated in the country as the Afghan forces are unable to contain the Taliban insurgents. The dreaded militia has been making steady progress to capture regions vacated by the NATO since May this year.
Baloch expats and activists continue to condemn rights violations in the province. Many blame Pakistan for undertaking the kill and dump policy in Balochistan.
Baloch activists have alleged the increasing hand of Pakistan in the worsening human rights situation, especially when it comes to extrajudicial killings by security agencies in the province. Baloch representative at the United Nations, Mehran Mari, said the excesses committed by Pakistan have now reached the doorsteps of activists working for the Baloch cause in other countries too.
The kill and dump policy has accelerated. Human rights violations on all fronts has increased. And general public is being affected far more than they were. For example, one new trend they have started, the activists, which are not so large in numbers in North America, Canada, especially Europe and the United Kingdom, the activists' families are being picked up and disappeared.
The mineral-rich Balochistan province has been in the grip of a 6-decade-long insurgency over seeking greater control of its resources. Activists say thousands have been abducted by security agencies from the province, never to be seen again. The Voice for Baloch Missing Persons, an organization seeking the release of the abducted people, has been seeking UN intervention on the issue.
Pakistan chooses to portray us deliberately as a province. We are not a province of Pakistan. And the purpose of this declaration was to highlight the fact we have always said we aspire for independent, sovereign Balochistan. We want the restoration of our sovereignty and independence.
Sunni majority Pakistan has been encouraging large-scale migration of Pashtuns in Balochistan to undertake demographic re-engineering. Balochs who have been fighting to regain their land and community now fear that migration will force them out of their own homeland.
Pashtuns have unfortunately always played a negative role in Balochistan. And I think the Pashtuns from frontier province, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, have played the role because they are the secondary force of the Pakistani military. They are playing an extremely dirty game at the hands of the ISI because they work as mercenaries for the Pakistani army. And one, they target Baloch people. Second, they're trying to strike a demographic imbalance in Balochistan.
Successive governments have tried to crush the Baloch movement militarily. The Baloch also accuse Pakistan's intelligence agencies of fostering sectarianism to weaken their campaign. Hundreds from Shia Hazara community have been killed in the restive province in what they call ethnic cleansing.
On to some other developments now. The United States on Tuesday listed 3 Pakistanis in its terror watch list. These include Fazlur Rahman Khalil, the founder of the Pakistan-based terror outfit Harkatul Mujahideen or HUM.
The U.S. Treasury Department has updated its list of specifically designated nationals or SDN. The latest list includes the names of Mohammad Naeem Sheikh of the Lashkar-e-Toiba and Umair Naeem Sheikh, who is linked to Abdul Hamid Shahabuddin, whose group has been sanctioned as well. The Treasury Department said the move is aimed at curbing financial supplies to Pakistan-based militant outfits. The assets owned by individuals and entities named in the list will be blocked, and citizens will be prohibited from dealing with them. Fazlur Rahman Khalil, the founder of the HUM, is known to have close connections with Al-Qaeda. He was also a signatory to Osama bin Laden's 1998 fatwa that called for the formation of an international front against Jews and Crusaders and was a declaration of war against the West and the US. The militant leader, who is believed to be close to the Pakistan civil and military administrations, was one of the lead negotiators during the 2007 siege of the Red Mosque in Islamabad. According to reports, the dreaded militant continues to live on the outskirts of Islamabad and stays connected with the powerful Pakistan army.
The death toll in the collision of two passenger trains in northern India rose to 14 on Wednesday. Though rescue work continues, many fear the number of casualties may surge as more people are feared trapped inside the derailed coaches.
Rescue teams, including the Indian Army and locals, shifted scores of injured to nearby hospitals on Wednesday. The mishap took place near Gorakhpur, some 167 miles from northern provincial capital Lucknow, late on Tuesday when Barauni-bound Krishak Express collided with Manduadi Express while the latter was changing track. Efforts are on to restore the rail traffic, which halted following the accident. The powerful collision derailed a number of coaches of the train, trapping many passengers who were sleeping at the time of the incident.
छावनी में ये गाड़ी रुकी है लखनऊ बरौनी, ठीक है। उसके बाद मालगाड़ी इधर से क्रॉस किया, उसके बाद इसको आगे जैसे बढ़ा कि थोड़ा दूर आगे जाने के बाद जोरदार धक्का हुआ है। उसके बाद हम लोग देखें तो बरौनी लखनऊ बरौनी का 3-4 डब्बा पलटी कर गया, जिसमें बहुत आदमी मरा भी है, बहुत घायल भी है। हमको भी यहाँ पे चोट लगा है, देखा जाए।
Train crashes and derailments due to dated railroad system and communication failures are common in India, which has a large rail network. A passenger train crashed with a stationary goods train in Uttar Pradesh, killing at least 40 people and injuring more than 150 others in May this year.
As floodwaters began receding, Muslims in Pakistan are preparing for Eid-ul-Zuha, the festival which marks the supreme sacrifice by Prophet Ibrahim. Take a look.
Muslims across Pakistan are gearing up for Eid-ul-Zuha, which will be celebrated next week. Days ahead of the big festival, markets in Karachi are filled with shoppers. But what's attracting the attention of all this season is an animal market in the commercial hub. Qadar Baksh, who excels in carving designs on camels, is helping traders crack a good deal from the buyers. The artist said his sole motive was to complete all last-minute orders.
ये सारा दिल का काम है, ये छापे ठप्पे बवके का काम नहीं है। ये 5 घंटे में बन जाए, सारा दिन खा जाए, 2 दिन खा जाए, बनाना तो है।
While markets in Karachi are filled with beautifully designed animals, dealers in eastern Lahore are struggling to gain profits. The recent floods in Pakistan swept away thousands of animals in the cattle-producing provinces of Punjab and Sindh, driving up the prices of livestock. This came during a surge of demand for the sacrificial animals ahead of Eid. This has led to prices surging up by almost 30 to 50% in the makeshift markets. Locals said due to destroying of infrastructure, even the surviving livestock could not be bought out.
जो बकरे हैं अभी थोड़े बहुत उनका रेट बहुत ज़्यादा है, सैलाब की वजह से कुछ शायद बकरे नहीं आए और बकरों का रेट बहुत ज़्यादा पहुंच से बहुत दूर है।
खासकर तनख्वाहदार तबके के लिए जो है ना, ये खरीदने बहुत मुश्किल है।
20,000 वाला 60,000 मांगते हैं
और 80-80 हज़ार रुपया मांग रहे हैं, कोई किसी का 90,000 बकरे का मांग रहे हैं, जिसमें वो मुश्किल 20 किलो गोश्त होगा।
Popularly known as Bakri Eid, the festival is celebrated on the 10th day of Zil Hajjah, the last month of the year, according to the Islamic calendar. But inflation seems to have taken the sheen out of the festival in Pakistan.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Twin Taliban suicide blast kills 7 in Afghanistan. Death toll in train collision climbs to 14 in northern India. And demand for livestock surges in Pakistan ahead of Eid-ul-Zuha. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.